All right, I know what you're thinking. Please, for just a moment, take your fingers off the keyboard. Don't leave that hate comment. Let me explain myself. In my life, I've heard plenty of times religious scholars and higher academics argue using their own fields to try to disprove or discredit the other. It's this strange ongoing war and debate and discussion between the world of religion and the world of academics. But in my mind, I think that these fields are entirely separate and entirely unrelated. I'm going to explain to you exactly why. By far the single most famous example of tension between religious theists and higher academics is that of Nicholas Copernicus. Copernicus was a famous astronomer in medieval Europe, which of course the Catholic Church at the time was known to be not very kind to those who went against it. But regardless, he posted his book on the revolutions of heavenly spheres. This book detailed his heliocentric model, the idea that instead of the sun and all the other planets revolving around the Earth and all the other planets revolved around the sun, which is the current scientific consensus today. Well, I won't go into detail about exactly what happened to Copernicus, because it was at times a little gruesome, especially later on in history for his legacy. It's important to recognize that at the time, scientific scholars and religious academics had their own issues with exactly what Copernicus was saying. But in the end, it still became scientific consensus, and to this day, the Catholic Church has apologized, and it's now become a true fact of our lives that the Earth revolves around the sun. All right, now it's going to get a little term heavy for just a moment, so please stay with me. I'm going to try to explain everything as simply as I can. In philosophy, moral teaching, the idea of inherent right or wrong, has two main teachings. Moral absolutism, the idea that no matter someone's situation, there is universal right and universal wrong. No matter what happens, you cannot do this thing or you can always do this thing. Moral relativism is the opposite of that. It takes the situation and the circumstances into account. It is relativistic to the situation. Modern education, higher education, colleges are liberalizing students' moral attitudes closer towards moral absolutism. Meanwhile, modern day religion, Christianity in particular, as religious texts are being reinterpreted, is pushing more towards moral relativism. The situation and the fact that we live very different lives as to when those religious texts were written does matter to a lot of people and to a lot of people studying and teaching these religious texts. As such, this proves even further that there is little to no link between the things that religion is attempting to explain and what academics is trying to explain. There is no link. Now, aside from these fields not only being able to acclimate for each other and to make changes based on one another without giving up exactly what they believe in, I think it's important to recognize that these fields are in many ways entirely unrelated. Most notable of which being that higher academics, specifically maybe a college education or a higher formal intelligence or standardized intelligence, is a poor indicator of someone's religiosity. That is, how religious they are or whether or not they practice any religion. As such, factors like age, sex, race, economic status, social status are all better indicators of whether or not someone would be religious or what religion exactly that they would practice than anything to do with academics. This simple idea suggests that there is an inherent dislink between academics and religion. All right, now let's move further on to this idea that religion and academics are...
Hold on. Just a moment.
Oh, God. Go ahead, Valance.
Thank you very much, James. So what do you want to say about the statistic where students who are religious get higher grades than students who aren't?
I was hoping you wouldn't bring this up. All right, I got this. I think it's important to recognize that the statistic that religious students do better on average, which I will say that is a real statistic. On average, students who practice religion get 10% higher grade point averages than students who don't. That's an entire letter grade. However, it is important to recognize that these are students who practice religion, not just who believe in religion. Students practicing religion learn vital life skills like a sense of responsibility and an intense work ethic, likely from having to go to church all those Sundays, even when they don't want to, that it allows them to perform better in school settings, of which that statistic only references high school students. Instead of linking academics or a higher formalized intelligence to religion, instead it's linking religion to an ability to do tasks, of which hopefully everybody already knows. So unfortunately, this is a classic example of correlation and not causation, but I appreciate the try, Valance. Have anything to say?
No, thank you, James.
All right, get out of frame, please. All right, finishing up, I want to recognize that academics and religion in all forms play an extremely important role in society. Academics are here to explain exactly how we got here, while religion and philosophy is here to explain exactly why we got here. If we're ever going to be more than we are right now as a society, instead of shunning each other, instead of trying to disprove or discredit one field that is entirely unrelated to the other, we need to be more. We need to do more, and we need to recognize that both of these hold a place in our hearts, in our society, and in our roles in explaining everything we need to know about the universe. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.